Hi guys, and welcome to this video on the full moon in Gemini that happens on the 15th of December 2024. Thanks for joining me. It's a pleasure to be with you today. The chart you see next to me here, that's a snapshot of the sky at the moment this full moon will take place. So I'm going to analyze the chart to see how the planets interact with each other, what energy they create amongst themselves, and how that will influence you. Then I'll go through each sign of the zodiac from Aries through to Pisces to give you a specific message for your sign. And please watch my horoscopes in this order: for your rising sign first, also known as the ascendant, then your sun sign, and finally your moon sign. And once I've done that, I'm going to give you a personal update. And if you've been watching my channel for any period of time, you'll probably know what's coming. But I also need your help with something. So I'm going to put a timestamp on that as well, so you know when I'm talking about that. But yes, so let's look at the astrology and let's see what's going on. So this does happen on the 15th of December at 1 minute past 9 in the morning, and that's based on my time zone in the UK. Please take into account that new moons and full moons, they're gradual processes, right? So you'll notice this on the 14th, 15th, and 16th, regardless of location. So please don't get too hung up on the time zones. This is also known as the cold moon. So astrology is based on the northern hemisphere, so it makes sense. Things out in the world are colder. And what's wonderful about this is that we have the sun at 23 degrees in Sagittarius. And as far as I'm concerned, Sagittarius is the only fire sign where the flames, the heat, the warmth is within you. It's self-belief, it's confidence, it's strength. But also on the 13th and 14th of December, we have the Gemini's meteor shower happening. And this is a full moon in Gemini. So the thing that's really highlighted and supported here is your ability to assess the information. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, the communication planet. So how do I find other ways forward? What are the other options? What do I express, and how can I articulate my feelings? How can I problem solve? And how really can I get on top of things so that I feel like I've analyzed the situation, I've made sense of it, so now I know what I'm doing on this day or this couple or few days here, but also in preparation for 2025. What is it that I want to accomplish? What is it that I want to experience next year? And what do I want to manifest in my life? So it's very much about the future. It's very much about your strength and this self-belief that says, if I get clear on my circumstances, I'll know what I want to change, and I have all the power in the world available to me right now, so I can set about doing that. Okay, so let's see what's going on specifically then. We have the sun at 23 degrees in Sagittarius, the moon is at 23 degrees in Gemini, and they oppose each other. If I'm looking at your natal chart, the way I interpret the sun, it's your head, it's your conscious identity, and it's what you're striving towards. It's the thing that promises joy and fulfillment and happiness. The moon is your heart, it's your intuition, it's what's going on internally, what you feel, but it's also what makes you feel at home in life. This is my security. This is where I can decompress and go, oh, everything is fine and is as it should be, right? So if you think about Sagittarius, it is this centaur, it's this powerful being. And what I love about Sagittarius, one, it's ruled by Jupiter, the lucky planet. So there's a sense that if I follow my own desires, my own kind of motivation, then good luck supports me in acquiring that or accomplishing it. But the thing that I love about it, it's got this bow and arrow and it points it in a particular direction. So it's interested in hitting the bullseye, very focused, very specific. But the great thing is that it can enjoy the process of getting there and the journey, and it can appreciate then the end of the journey, the accomplishment and achieving what you set out to do. And once it's completed that, then it's the next goal, and it repeats and it's over and over. So the sun at 23 degrees, 2 and 3 being 5 in Sagittarius, there's a real sense that what can I do during this period and moving into 2025 that's going to create more freedom in my life? And what is it that I can do that is really a part of my life purpose, my mission? What do I find meaningful and important? So it's really about getting organized, as in, I'm not going to waste my time doing things that I don't particularly enjoy or where I don't see any point or rhyme or reason around it. And instead, I'm only going to focus on the things in life that have meaning and that resonate with me. So it's about you, it's about your self-confidence and your likes and dislikes. Then it opposes the moon, so it's 180 degrees away from the moon at 23 degrees in Gemini. This is really the freedom to find other ways forward, to kind of think outside of the box and to say, okay, this is what I'm hearing from other people, but what is it that I think? What is it that makes sense to me? Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury, the communication planet, rules two signs, Virgo and Gemini. So I always say that when it's in Virgo, the switch, so to speak, is on the inward position, and I assess and I learn and I analyze and I research in order to come up with an answer for myself. And then in Gemini, the switch is on the outward position, and it's like, I have this meaning now, I have these answers, so how can I implement them? And how can I communicate what I think to be correct and accurate and important? And how can I find new doorways to step through? If you look at the glyph of Gemini, it's a Roman numeral 2 with a base and a roof. So it's this doorway. It's almost like two columns in the tarot, and those cards are gate cards. So the experience you have here during this cold moon is going to enable you to say, here's the threshold into a new life, and I now have the self-belief to actually take that first step. So at this time of year as well, if you're thinking of making some New Year's resolutions, this full moon is a time where you're going to be so organized on an intellectual level and you're objective, and you can say, these are the things that I want, but also I'm able to differentiate between the things that I want that are going to pay off and that are going to be good for me in the long term. And these are things that may not pay off. So let's put those aside. So you're really at the top of your game here when it comes to making meaning in your own life and having a sense of what works for you and what doesn't. Okay, so we have the moon then forming several relationships. So first of all, it trines Black Moon Lilith at 18 degrees in Libra, and it also trines Vesta at 22 degrees in Libra, 4 degrees away from Black Moon Lilith. So Black Moon Lilith, when I'm reading a natal chart, that can represent the shadow self that's trying to get you to look at things that are in the subconscious or things that need healing, right? But it can also represent where your ego tries to hold you back a little bit and where you experience some self-doubt. And Black Moon Lilith here at 18 degrees in Libra, 1 and 8 is 9, spirituality and completion. In Libra, it's going to say, do you know what? Instead of figuring out your own life and seeing what your passions are, make sure that you put other people first and that you listen to what they say and that you comply with that. So I would argue that that's the thing to avoid, that it's not a good idea to pick up another person's hopes and dreams and to make that your own, but instead to go inwards and to say, these are my dreams, these are the things that excite me, and I'm going to figure out a way to do that. And I'm not saying that you have to do that completely on your own, but the root of it is having a word with yourself and saying, do you know what, regardless of what's going on around me and regardless of what my existing circumstances are, I do want to have a little chat with myself and see what's important. And then I can talk to other people about it and find solutions and find ways of actioning that and manifesting it in earnest. Because Gemini as well, it is about talking and writing and expressing. So self first. So if you have a spiritual practice, meditation, chanting, yoga, whatever works for you that connects you with something bigger on a spiritual level, but then also, picking up the phone, speaking to a friend or family members or someone who's really interested in seeing you succeed. And I don't mean succeed in terms of making money or, being, appearing to be successful and happy, but whatever represents success for you. And that could be, I have a garden, or I'm looking to find a place with a garden and I want to keep bees, for instance. That may be your version of success. So next to it, Vesta is the hearth, it's the home, and at 22 degrees, 22 is the master number of the builder. And in Libra, again, it's almost like I want to focus on my relationships, and it seems that the thing that makes me feel safest in life is acceptance and belonging. And I feel, and if you disagree, let me know in the comments, please. I feel that that is a mirage. So instead of going, hey, I'm figuring it all out for my life, for my future, the thing that you could kind of traipse into, and that wouldn't be as useful, would be putting other people first and saying, I'm going to do absolutely everything I can for you to realize your hopes and dreams, or I'm going to spend time with you and just listen in terms of speak. And I think it's a good idea to balance that. The glyph of Libra is a bridge with a bump in it. So again, you don't need to completely isolate yourself here. But if you find that your agenda has gone out the window and now you're just in a discussion or a conversation where it's about the other person, then just make sure that you add some balance to that and that you express your own ideas as well. Then we have the moon forming a sesqui square, so it's 135 degrees away from the midheaven in Scorpio. If I'm reading your natal chart, the midheaven indicates what your vocational aptitudes are, what your life purpose is as it relates to work, right? And jobs associated with the midheaven in Scorpio are any careers that are about uncovering hidden secrets. So it's detectives and psychics. It can be anyone who works in the medical field as a surgeon or as a therapist. So we're identifying the thing that needs removing. We're identifying the issue that we're talking about, and we're trying to heal it. Pluto, the planet of transformation and change, death and rebirth, that rules Scorpio. So it's really about going to those dark places and being able to navigate the dark without getting scared and saying, I see now what is in the subconscious or what's beneath the surface, and that has an impact on me on a conscious level, on an everyday level. So with that midheaven in Scorpio, your job, so to speak, during this full moon in Gemini is to say, what are the things that are unhealed in me? And what are the things that I feel most deeply? I want to illuminate them. I want to bring them to the surface. I want to heal them, or I want to give them life. I want to be there for myself. I want to nurture myself to say these things that are hidden inside of me. I'm going to now let them out, and I'm going to give myself a chance to heal my life, but to really walk in a direction that something within me, whether it's my inner child or my higher self, somehow wants me to. So there's a process of holding hands with your higher self and going on this mission, a very personal mission, to say, I'm now on a path to healing, and I'm on a path to illuminate the dark and to shine the light and to make sure that I have a life experience that's joyous and amazing. Then we have the moon forming. I mentioned the opposition with the sun, obviously because it's a full moon. It also sesqui square, so again 135 degrees, and it's away from, it interacts with Venus at 9 degrees in Aquarius. And that's really important and significant as well, because Venus is the planet of love, beauty, and creativity. 9 is the vibration of spirituality and completion. In the Tower, it's the Hermit. So again, the inner illumination, the inner light. And Aquarius is the sign of the teacher, the person who wants to educate others or to empower others. It's the person who wants to use their time and energy to be of service or to work in a charitable way. The person who wants to bring people together and who sees other people as a human family. So Venus is about new beginnings and being creative. So I feel it's almost like your higher self here is teaching you something. So again, if you have a spiritual practice, please spend a moment to just contemplate and say, hey, universe, what is it that you want me to hear? Because I think the universe is teaching you in a way to say, start this now on this day, and moving forward, you're going to love it. It's going to be wonderful. It will appear like a baby in your life that you're incredibly proud of. Then we have the moon forming a square with the north node at 2 degrees in Aries. Again, if I'm looking at your natal chart, the south node shows where you're coming from on a spiritual level, what you've already accomplished, what box you've ticked. And the north node is what you're striving towards. So in this case, we have the south node at 2 degrees in Libra. So connecting with other people is something that you'll be good at on this day. And again, it prompts me to mention again what I said about Black Moon Lilith Investor. That's something you can already do. And the key thing is to balance your relationship so that it's as equal as possible. But the South Node at 2 degrees in Libra, you're not going to have a lot of conflict on this day. You're not going to have to, learn social skills or how to interact. That's going to be something that you feel like you've already done, and that's easy, right? The North Node at 2 degrees in Aries, so again, cooperation, communication, relationship via the number 2. It's communication with yourself, and Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It's ruled by Mars, which is in retrograde at the moment. And it says the thing that is important, the thing you're striving towards on this day during the full moon, is how can you overcome obstacles? How can you make progress on your journey that's important to you? And how can you interact with it? So I would say one is identifying what I care about and what I'd like to have in my life by that midheaven in Scorpio. Then it's about saying I have the ability to make that happen, the self-belief and the fire. But then also to actually implement it and to start walking that journey and to say, okay, now I'm going to have to get certain things in place, or I'm going to have to rearrange them so I can get to where I want to be. Mars being in retrograde, Mars is in retrograde. Let me just give you the exact date. I think it's until the 23rd of February next year. Yes, Mars has been in retrograde since the 6th of December, and it'll stay in retrograde until the 23rd of February. Mars is the personal planet of drive and ambition and what you want. I'm not going to compromise. This is super important to me. And in Leo, it's like, boom. I really want to lead. I want to be in the spotlight. I want to take on a role where I'm the leader or the boss or the person who's articulating things to an audience. And at 5 degrees, it's what represents freedom. So if I put myself out there and if I share my stuff, then I'm going to have a success, and that's going to be wonderful. So if you're an artist, or if you're someone who wants to publish, or someone who finds it difficult to put yourself out there, that placement is really helpful for any of those kind of activities. But with it being retrograde, it appears to go backwards. It kind of cools its heels a little. So it's not as driven to say you must do this and relentless. It's kind of an easy kind of nudge to say, do this in a steady, relaxed, calm way. You don't have to be impatient. You don't have to get everything done immediately. Steady wins the race. And that North Node in Aries, I feel, offsets the retrograde a little bit. And it really says the focus here is on getting everything out of my way, like a juggernaut would push things out of its way, in order to attain this oasis that I have in my mind's eye, the thing that represents my dreams for life. Okay, so let's see what else we've got. That's what the moon connects with. But in terms of the wheel at the center of the chart, you'll notice that there's a lot going on. And the first thing that I see is a grand trine. A grand trine is 3 trines. A trine is when 2 planets or asteroids are 120 degrees away from each other. And when 3 of them connect, it creates a big blue triangle. And again, if I'm looking at your birth chart, that represents an area of major talent. And this one connects Saturn in Pisces with Juno, which in the charts I interpret as what gives you a sense of endless summer, what gives you a sense of joy. And then it trines, Juno that is, it trines back to Hades at 14 degrees in Cancer, and that trines back to Saturn in Pisces. Have a look at the horoscopes I made for 2025, because I talk about Saturn changing sign next year, going out of this last sign of the zodiac Pisces and moving into the first sign of the zodiac Aries. It's a big societal shift. Have a look at your the horoscope for your sign. But here on this day, we have this grand trine, and it's in water. They usually are in one element. So the big talent is to feel your own feelings, to connect to the higher realms, to heal your life, and to express yourself creatively. And even to get creative with your circumstances and to say, let me look at this. How can I adapt it so my life is a marvelous experience and that I've got a daily routine that I absolutely love and enjoy? Now I'm just looking at whether that's a kite or not. A kite would be when 2 sextiles sit on top of one of the trines, and that's a talent that's then even more amplified and heightened. But here We don't have a kite, okay? The next thing that's really significant is that we have a grand cross. That's a big red square. So a square in the chart is when two things are 90 degrees away from each other, and it causes friction and energy, but it's not that comfortable. It prompts you to do something, right? So here we have four squares combining to create this big grand cross, and it connects the descendant in Cancer. That then squares the south node in Libra, which squares the ascendant, the rising sign in Capricorn, and that squares the north node in Aries. So that's significant because south node and north node, I mentioned it's the tail of the dragon and the head of the dragon. Rahu and Ketu in Vedic astrology, right? I'm a Western astrologer and that looks at it by the seasons. But so the Grand Cross, the area that where there's friction or maybe a sense of, oh, I'm just going around the houses and I'm finding it difficult to come to a decision, the fact that the South and North Node are part of that, it's kind of like the Wheel of Fortune in the tarot. It's prompting you to ask the big questions about your life and to say, what is it that you want? Not what anyone else wants, but what you want. And then the two other parts of it, the descendants is what I'm looking for. That's sunset, right? And the ascendant, sunrise, what naturally I have, what I'm naturally embodying, and how I can use that to break out of this sense of paralysis or inaction. So the descendant is in Cancer. So what I'm looking for is to take care of myself and to parent myself so I have the best life possible. And the ascendant in Capricorn at 4 degrees, what I can do easily is roll up my sleeves and do the heavy lifting and do the inner work and the outer work. Capricorn is wonderful because it's often represented as this goat, but it has a fishtail. So it's able to do the inner emotional work and the outer work. So putting brick and mortar together to build a house or to do the job applications or to write the CV. So you're certainly not going to be lacking energy here. And this Grand Cross, it's asking you, work towards your life purpose, parent yourself the way you would parent a child, and make sure that you're, again, spending your time and energy building structures in your life, the kind of life that you want to live. So it's really about getting clear on who you are, what you want at this point in your life, and what you can do about it to bring in more good stuff. I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself. I'm not sure if I already mentioned Mercury being stationed on this day. Mercury retrogrades, they create communication and transportation issues. When the planet is direct, it moves forward. When it stations, it's in that in-between point where it's stock still. So Mercury has been retrograde since the 25th of November. And on the 15th of December, here on this day, it goes direct. So it's still stationed when this full moon occurs. And when the communication planet is just stood there, stopped, it's almost like time stops. And I can examine my life. I don't have to rush off. I can take a moment and have total peace and quiet, total stillness, where I can examine my hopes and dreams and make all of these changes that I've been speaking about. So I would imagine that Mercury being stationed gives you a real sense of calm and a wonderful overview of everything that is in your life now, that you would like to be in your life via your mind's eye, and even what you can let go of. Also, expect communication and transportation to get much easier from now on. Okay, so let's see what else is in here. Make sure I haven't missed anything. We have a yod. A yod is known as the finger of God. It's two quincunxes. Their basis is a sextile, and it looks like a green finger. And it's a unique quality that you have when I'm looking at your natal chart. But when I'm looking at an event like this, it's the unique quality of this full moon. So it connects Vesta at 22 degrees in Libra. It peaks with Uranus at 24 degrees in Taurus, and then it quincunxes back to the Sun in Sagittarius at 23 degrees, and that then sextiles Vesta. So the amazing thing here is that you can even examine what you want to accomplish, or that sounds rather, it's the wrong word, what you want as far as your relationships are concerned. And if you feel like you've wanted to change your playground, change your playmates, right? There's certain people who you don't feel have your best interests at heart. And there are people who you connect with that you really have something in common with. So let's say you get into skateboarding, right? That could then be, hey, I want to hang out with other skateboarders who could teach me how to flip this thing. Because I've just picked up this hobby. My New Year's resolution is that I'm going to do more skating, as an example, and I want to connect with like-minded people. So the unique quality here is that you're able to adapt your social network, your support network, and make it more satisfying for yourself. Let's see what else. The Grand Cross I've mentioned. I've got the chart here, but also on the computer, so I can make sure I don't miss anything. Do we have a second Grand Trine? Yes, we do. We have a second Grand Trine. That one connects. It's a fire one. It connects the North Node in Aries with Mercury in Sagittarius stationed. That then trines over to Mars in retrograde in Leo, and it trines back to the North Node. So I just mentioned the stillness of Mercury. I can see everything. And the chill kind of, I'm cooling my jets here, Mars in retrograde, but also in Leo, this smoldering self-belief that exists within you. I don't need to rush off and do anything because I have all the time in the world, and I'm feeling the heat from within. And that peaks with the North Node in Aries. This is really a moment to stop everything and to say, I'm going to completely redesign my life if I want, and I'm going to not accomplish that again. It's like, even if the last 20 years have been one way, this is a moment of rebirth for me. I'm the child. I'm starting a whole new life here, and what do I want that life to look like? And I so love that this is called the cold moon, and out of that cold comes all this inner warmth and heat and fire. I love it. Okay, strongest mode is mutable, so you're willing to change. You're not digging your heels in and being stubborn and saying everything has to be as it always was. You're willing to make changes and you're not afraid of change. And the strongest elements are fire and air, both masculine elements. So it's really about you and the cause that you're creating that's going to affect the outside world. It's not about being influenced by and being impacted by the outside world. It's the other way around. So the power resides in you. Perfect. Let's look at each sign of the zodiac. Okay, so Aries, for you, this is a wonderful opportunity to consider what comes next, particularly when it comes to any ideas you've had around moving, education, and broadening your horizons by trying something completely new that you're interested in. So the way to judge that is simply, am I motivated by this? Am I interested? Do I find it fascinating? Let's explore some more. You'll notice that there's a massive sense of curiosity and a desire to learn about the world and yourself. Logistical matters are easy to organize as well. And for you to resolve any issues in that area during this full moon in Gemini. Taurus, excuse me. You may consider your role in work at this time, especially if you're working in the corporate world or in some big institution, the government or Shell Oil, something huge like that. Your income may be under the microscope, and you have the opportunity to plan your career moving forward and moving into next year, and what you can do to increase your level of fulfillment in your work, but also to increase your level of income. Gemini, this is your full moon in your sign, so you'll be showered with a ton of your own energy. So lots of, you're not going to be tired or laid back. You'll want to get things done. It's going to give you a massive sense of optimism and self-belief. If there are changes that you want to make in your relationships, anything, so to start dating or to mend a broken relationship, to express your thoughts and feelings to friends, if you felt isolated, it's about solving any type of relationship problem that you have in your life and the ability and willingness to perfect your relationships as far as that's possible. So it's interesting because I mentioned via Black Moon Lilith Investor that this is about figuring out your life purpose. In your case, it's the life purpose as it relates to your relationships and the ones you want to fix and don't want to fix, and what new kind of relationships you want to bring in. Cancer, you have the opportunity to to receive the solutions to any type of problem in your life by connecting to your higher self, and whatever you call that, source, the creator, your angels, the universe, whatever whatever that feels right for you. My personal one is that I call it a mystery. That's what works for me. If you've wanted to make changes to your daily routine, your physical health or appearance, or your living environment, the universe will give you practical solutions and practical ideas that, when actioned, will have a marvelous outcome. Leo, for you, this is a wonderful opportunity to really understand and to really connect with what you want for your love life. That relates to your dreams for relationships, whether you want to be single, partnered up, married, or whatever you dream for yourself. So if you haven't been clear on what you actually wanted to happen in that area of your life, and you've just been kind of playing it by ear and saying, I'll see what occurs, you get a clear, crystal clear understanding of this is what I would really like to happen in an ideal world. It also relates to what you love to do, work-wise, or if you're a student, what you're studying, or retired, what you're working towards, and how you can turn this into your career, or how you could turn it into something that creates an income for you. So pay attention to how you feel during this time, because it gives you the power to decide what you want and the confidence to manifest these things for real in future. Virgo, you may notice that good things are happening in your working life. Again, if you're a student or retired, you'll notice that you're making a lot of progress in what you're working towards. And this then allows you to examine your home life. In a literal sense, where you live, and whether you live in a home or just a house. So whether it's meaningful to you or not. And what you can do in future to bring greater sense of being settled in your life. Where do you want to settle? Where do you want to put down roots? And that's really interesting for Virgo, that's because I'm a Virgo myself. It also relates to your most important relationships and allowing yourself to be nurtured, loved, and cared for by others. And accepting that. And trusting that is genuine. Libra, you may be questioning your living circumstances and any minor improvements you can make to feel more at home in all areas of your life. So I love my job. I know I'm in the right one. I love my relationship. I love my home. That I'm, this is exactly the right thing for me. You're the analyst who can solve life problems here during this full moon in Gemini. You may also notice that you develop a sense of wanderlust, that you get itchy feet, to learn more, to experience different aspects of life, and to travel. So if you have the opportunity to go somewhere you've never been before during this full moon, do it. You'll love it. Scorpio, you may receive good news from an organization, institution, or one of the authorities, like the government or the tax people. It's likely to ease financial pressure and gives you the opportunity to celebrate and to make plans to upgrade your life moving into 2025. Sagittarius, so this is your birthday month, happy birthday, and you'll find a great sense of confidence and warmth towards your life and towards your life in general and yourself and your role in life. So you have real compassion and empathy for yourself, basically. Your ruler, the lucky planet, supports you in the areas of relationship. So if you've wanted to start dating again, it's the perfect time to do that. Also, if there are work-related Christmas events, attending will mean you make a new connection or several new connections that you can have a fabulous time celebrating your life, yourself, and other people, and the new people you meet. So you're likely to have a really fun time here on this day, but also in December. Capricorn, expect some type of spiritual visitation or message to be received from your higher self that provides a specific message that can solve a big life problem for you. So it's not practical, it's spiritual. So be open to that. Especially in the area of your physical health and how you treat your own body, you'll start to get information around what changes you could make to the way you eat or your daily routine so that you have a more enjoyable experience being you. And it could also deliver spiritually your life purpose as it relates to work. So if you've wanted to change your work for a while, but you haven't known what to do next, this full moon is going to give you that info in a very concrete, easy to understand way. Aquarius. You'll be lucky in love during this time. You may get compliments. People may suddenly find you very warm and attractive and witty and charming. And this positive feedback is going to allow you to, one, believe it and feel good. And then, as a result, to dream even bigger for your future and all the wonderful things that are yet to come in your life. So expect to feel remarkably appreciated, valued, and loved, and willing to dream the impossible dream and to say, I can accomplish anything. So for you, Aquarius, this is like you're transcending your existing self and you're moving into the realms of, this is what I'm really interested in creating in my life. Pisces, home life is likely to be very rewarding and supportive, and you may feel incredibly rooted, safe, grounded, and at ease during this full moon in Gemini. The sense of belonging can then motivate you to examine your own working life, or what you're working towards, again, if you're a student or retired, and how you can bring this level of being home into your career. So I'm in exactly the right role at the right time in the right place. You'll be optimistic and interested in a balanced daily experience where each different area that you're focused on give you that sense of, I'm home, I've made it. Okay, so that's what I got for you for each sign of the zodiac. Personal update. Guys, I moved here to Dawlish in Devon. I moved here in last year, right? And I was in Austria before that, and it was a good landing place because what I did is I drove around Devon to look at different places where I wanted to settle to get back to the UK. And I found this place with the ducks and the black swans and the geese, and it's been wonderful. It's been so soothing and a really nice place. But you guys know that I move a lot, so that's what's happening. My dream has always been to live in Cornwall for a while. And I visited many years ago a place called St. Michael's Mount, and it had such a deep impact on me that it's even in one of my tarot cards in the Gregory Scott Tarot. It's the Hermit card, and in the background is St. Michael's Mount. It's this island that you can walk to when the tide is out, and when the tide is in, it's flooded, you can't. And I just find that so romantic and spiritual and amazing. So I want to move there. So it's called, the village is called Mara Zion. I hope I'm saying that properly. And I found this place that is just glorious. But I called the estate agents and they said they've already had a tenant agree a let, but that they, in some way, they haven't followed up. So there may be a chance that they're not going to go ahead with it. And if they don't, then they're going to get in touch with me and I might be able to get it. So keep your fingers crossed for me. That's the dream, to live in Marazion by St. Michael's Mount. And I'm also going to chase them up. I'm going to call them a lot to make sure that they know I'm super interested in. But that whole area, so Hale on the north side, and it's Hayle, and then Penzance, even Falmouth, Helston, which is another village. That whole area, I'm really interested in living in that part of Cornwall. So this is where you guys come in, and I want to ask for your help. If you have a 2-bedroom place to rent, or you know of a 2-bedroom place to rent in that area, or it can even be a little further north on the north coast, because my plan is to really now get into surfing. Here, the waves aren't as high. I've got a bodyboard in my wetsuit, and I've been doing that a lot when I met Sammy the Seal. But I want to really surf in earnest in the north side. So even if we're going up to, and I'm sorry if I'm saying this wrong, Porthcothan, that's a beautiful area and of natural, outstanding beauty. I would even consider living up there, or places like outside of Newquay, where they're also great surf and stuff. So if you know of anybody who has a 2-bedroom place, any kind of place, a house or a flat, that's available, please email me and please get in touch either via the website, gregoryscott.com. Click on contact and you can send a message there, or you can email me directly, readings@gregoryscott.co.uk. I would really love that, because there'd be a personal kind of connection if I found a place through you guys, and I'd be ever so grateful. But I'm still looking. I found there's another place in Helston, which is close to Marazion. So I've emailed them to see if I can get a viewing. So it's in hand, and I'm super excited. I'll be moving, I think, either in January or by the end of January, I'd like to move. So if you have anything available or you know of anything, please do get in touch via the email, readings@gregoryscott.co.uk. I would be ever so grateful. And that's it. Yeah, so I've really loved living here, but it's time to go surfing and it's time to live in Cornwall. You know, there's certain things like I spoke about hopes and dreams in this horoscope, in this reading. And for me, there have been certain things in my life which have really signaled that I did something good for myself. One of them was when I skated around St. Stephen's Cathedral in Vienna. I still have that on my channel. It's called My Bucket List Moment. And that was just, wow, Greg, you've actually done something good in your life. Well done. And this, moving to Cornwall and to be near St. Michael's Mount, it feels like that's where I'm meant to be now. And I'm so excited. I can't wait. So again, please just get in touch. Readings@gregoryscott.co.uk. That's the email. In terms of this video, if you like it, give it a thumbs up, please, so it shows up in searches in the algorithm and people can actually see that I do these videos. If you like the video, hit subscribe, please, for more videos. And share it with anyone who you may think is interested in this full moon in Gemini and how it will affect them. I also do a daily tarot reading on my channel, so please become a member of my channel if you want to check in every day via the tarot. I hope you have a wonderful time here during this full moon. I wish you all the very best. I will speak to you soon. There's another new moon coming up at the end of December. It's a black moon, second new moon in a month. So I'll make a video on that. Check out the yearly horoscopes I did for 2025. They're up. And also the horoscopes for December are up. I'm planning to do the ones for January in the next few weeks. So yeah, I'll put those in the calendar to do. So I hope you have a wonderful time here during this full moon. All the very best to you. Have a great time and I will speak to you soon. Take care.